When I first saw this article, I thought it was a joke, like trolling, because I saw this. You saw that somebody sending racist text messages to black people about getting ready to pick cotton, and you're like, how all this stuff just come out like all of a sudden? People just stuff is just coming out, making no sense. Timing is thrown off. Let people get over their feelings. They'll be all right. And tomorrow we'll get up and we'll just continue to live our lives, which is what you got to do. But I saw the story yesterday. Like I say, thought it was a joke, but woke up today and the sun gun is still there. So we have got to get into this because this is sad for this country. I fear for my kids and grandchildren and any generation after that if this type of behavior does not change for the children. But anyway, let's get into it. This is from foxnews.com and it reads universities come under fire for canceling classes, providing safe spaces to students upset by Trump's victory. You mean to tell me that students, kids, are so upset about election? Man, I am 47 years old. Done seen, I don't know how many elections. Let's see, every 4 years. So what's that? 10 elections. There's been 10 elections, 10, 11 elections in my lifetime. Dang, has it been that many? Anyway. And I can't recall a time where everyone cried, everyone got upset, people need some time off of work, need some FLMA uh, time off, got to cope over a freaking election. I don't get it. The problem is these kids have not gone through anything. And I want to take a wild guess that these are children who are not descendants of freedmen of this country because of all the stuff that we done been through in our lifetime and in our generation before us. The way they taught us to be tough, be hard. You got to deal with it because this world ain't fair. This country ain't fair. You just got to get up and do it yourself. Something like this. But I don't know. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's see. Quote, we're headed down a very problematic path. Universities are producing a generation that can't face the uncertainties and challenges of life. Campus reform correspondent Emily Sturge said, there's also an article that came out recently that said that a lot of these kids that are in college, in these prestigious colleges right now, cannot read a novel, which is the craziest thing. But you know what? You got to blame first. First, you got to blame the school system, the public school system, because I know down here they don't teach kids. They don't educate kids no more. They teach them on the standardized test, so that way the schools can get funding. That's it. And they've been doing it for years. Everybody know they're doing it. It's even the federal government, but they haven't put a stop to it. They haven't changed anything. That's why, like when my kids were growing up, I made sure they read throughout the year, and especially in the summer, they had to read every day. They just had to. They wasn't doing homework. They had to read something because so you got to be educated. You got to understand. You got to be educated. You should do. They used to read, do some math, making new definitions, read the freaking newspaper, something. But sitting around and not being educated, nah, it ain't gonna work. But anyway, let's get back into it. Reports that several universities across the nation canceled classes and provided safe spaces for students to recover from the presidential election prompted a wave of criticism that these schools aren't preparing students for the quote unquote real world. And they're not. Georgetown, I was gonna say too, blame the school system and blame the parents because yes, you should be having your kids read and educating them at home, not just at school. Because you only treat school like a daycare anyway, most of you. So you might as well teach them at the house when they're at home with you, making sure they learn something because they're not learning anything or very little in the public school system. Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. drew mockery. Georgetown, talking about where we got Allen Iverson from and Alonzo Mourning, you know what I'm saying? Coach Thompson. And you got Georgetown University, the place that made a lot of money, came up on the backs of slaves. They doing this? Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. drew mockery on social media after news broke the college invited students to a self-care suite on Wednesday to recover from the stress of the 2024 presidential election. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. I will say this. The election this year, I can understand, was stressful because you had racism involved, you had sexism involved. What else? That was like the top of the list. Democracy, maintaining democracy. Uh, Folks telling you that if Donald Trump becomes president, it's going to put you in chains. Folks telling you if Donald Trump becomes president, he's going to deport all of your family members. Folks telling you that Donald Trump becomes president, he's going to enact a Project 2025. They were putting a lot of fear out there in this election instead of harping on what they were going to do to help the U.S. citizens. You spend 75% of your time dogging out the other candidate, while the other candidate spending 10, 15, maybe 20% of his time talking about you. But the majority of, and that's only if he was questioning about you for the most part, but the majority of his campaign was talking about what he has done and what he's going to do for the country. That's why, in my opinion, the Democrats lost because they focus on the wrong topics and on the wrong person. Period. But yeah, the election this year was stressful because people were pulling you far right, far left. There was no in between except for those of us who were sank and was like, look, we are not going for the fear monger. We're not going for the bullcorn. What we gonna do? And then you got people trying to get the first quote unquote, first fake black woman president. So there's a lot of emotions involved. And when there's a lot of emotion involved, just think about it when you sit here arguing with your wife, your husband, your kids. Well, like you ain't gonna argue with your kids because you should just, anyway, your wife, your husband, whatever, and you arguing with people and it gets emotional. And part of it becomes emotional. Once y'all are done, it's draining. It can be draining, which is why I don't recommend arguing, yelling, fussing, talking it out. If you can't talk it out, walk away. Simple as that. Who cares? Students at Georgetown's McCourt School of Public Policy were reportedly offered treats like milk and cookies. Goes back to Bernie Mac. Hey, plays right into it. So going to get some milk and cookies, fell right into that. And hot cocoa. Now I don't even want to drink hot cocoa no more. As well as Lego toys and coloring and mindfulness exercises to get their mind off the election results. You know what they should have been doing? In them books, studying, give them a project, something to read, have them go fill out a job application, go out there and pick up cans or something on side of the road. Not sitting here being all in your feelings because you lost. You're going to lose in life. You are not going to, I don't know, maybe it's the participation trophies that started in the 80s. I don't know, but you're not going to win all the time. And the only way you're going to win is if you put the work in. And it's a lot more work than just hollering, crying, fussing, and cussing. Quote unquote, seriously, at Georgetown, we all know that it's not conservative students who want the daycare experience. Stop coddling leftists who can't handle reality. Defense of Freedom Institute spokesman Angela Morabito wrote on X. Another elite school reportedly canceled classes and lessened course requirements on Wednesday in response to President-elect Trump's victory. The Harvard Crimson reported that several professors in the sociology, math, and general education departments at Harvard Harvard University canceled classes that day, made attendance optional, or extended assignment deadlines. Man, you can't even get a day off if your child is sick without a note. You can't even go and bury your family members without coming back with an obituary with your name on it being the pallbearer. But they're going to tell you can get time off and time to cope because of an election. That ain't really got nothing to do with you right now. Nothing at all. does not affect your life in the least bit at this moment. So why do you need this? Because again, your emotions, the left wings, your emotions were all in this election, Kamala Harris's election was all based on emotion. So when it's only based on emotion and it builds up, builds up, builds up, once you lose, your emotions drop down, and it can cause depression, and sadness. That's what happens when you run on emotion. Economic lecturer Maxim Boyko reportedly told students during his intermediate microeconomics course that in-class quizzes would be optional on Wednesday, and that students could take time off if they need to process the election results. As we recover from the eventful election night and process the implications of Trump's victory, please know that class will proceed as usual today, except that classroom quizzes will not be for credit. Boyko wrote in an email obtained by the Crimson. Feel free to take time off if needed. The student newspaper noted that several professors postponed exams or lightened student assignments after Trump's win in 2016 too. Amazing. How did that work out? I want to know how that worked out after that happened. Did a student drop out of school? Did they go in depression? Did they need counseling? Were they put on drugs? Were they suicidal? What happened after Trump won last in 2016? I don't get it. But it's funny how this happens when a woman runs for president and she loses. But when men run for president and lose, this don't happen. Amazing. Emotions. The school's reaction prompted fierce criticism from academics and Harvard graduates on social media. Quote, fellow academics, this is nuts. Stop doing this. It makes you look like an out of touch, crazy person. Look like you weak. That's what it makes you look. It further erodes respect for higher ed and trust in academic research, and is not good for your students. William J. Luther, associate professor of economics at Atlantic University, wrote on X. Yeah, it makes you look weak. These are supposed to be the leaders of our future. Can you imagine someone you work? I worked for a manager, a clinic manager, who was very emotional, who, I mean, cried over the silliest stuff. People looking at you like, what is wrong with this woman? She would leave, not come back. I mean, I've worked with people, what I'm saying? Nurse, female, same way. Get upset, walk off the floor. Don't know where she went. So know where they go. Like, what the heck going on? They all emotional, feelings hurt. Like, who the hell does it on the job? But needless to say, that manager was gone. And the nurse, still up in the air. But it's the makes no sense if somebody get that dang on emotional over what? Because some still come up and go down every day. Life is going to go on. Do you know how many classes Harvard canceled after October 7th? Zero. Harvard graduate Shabos Kestenbaum wrote on X. Ivy League universities are incubators of anti-Semitism, radicalism, and intellectual and moral bankruptcy. Tax the endowment, end federal funding, abolish DEI. What are they saying? Huh. On the other side of the country, in Tacoma, Washington, the University of, I want to say Puget Sound announced a full week of self-care election activities for stressed students. Let me click on this right quick. I don't know if y'all can see. Probably can't unless I move it. But yeah, the University of Puget Sound election season engaging in self and community care. If you're feeling stressed about the election, you're not alone. Elections and the time leading up to them can uniquely impact each of the 8 dimensions of well-being: emotional, physical, occupational, social, spiritual, intellectual, environmental, and financial. As a campus community, we recognize that these next few weeks may be difficult, and that we each may be carrying the weight of the election outcomes in different ways. In this season, campus members are encouraged to utilize the following tips to engage in self care and community care, as well as attending support spaces, drop in community art activities, and recharge rooms on campus. If individual support is needed, please utilize the following resources. And there's a few resources for students and some for staff. Amazing. Events for engaging in self and community care starting October 29th, 30th, November 4th, 5th, November 6th, 7th, then November 18th. What? Lord have mercy. Got a post-election process space of dropping calming space to collage, decorate a journal, and respond to self-care writing prompts and or fill out a post-election empowerment plan. Resources on additional support provided baked potato bar from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Not only are they going to sit you to the side and let you draw, they're also going to feed you some potatoes so you can just gain a few pounds while you're in the middle of it. Baked potatoes and politics. Wow. Support spaces for elemental P students, for faculty and staff. Wow. The forgotten history of the Electoral College and why it matters today. That's what they should have been teaching them kids from the jump about the dang on Electoral College. But anyway, y'all can click on that on your own time. Let's get back to it. Students were invited to a stroll in a walkable labyrinth with calming lighting and music. Recharge their mental health in an arts and crafts corner, or make a collage in a supportive space for election processing. Other events of the week scheduled include support spaces exclusively for the elemental P students and students of color to talk about their election anxiety. I got no election anxiety, none whatsoever. Let me tell you who has anxiety. People who do not feel that they control their own destiny. People who want other people to take care of them, to control them, but yet you want to be considered grown. Don't want to take direction, but doggone well ain't got the fortitude to handle correction. And that is where the problem lies. All this emotion about a freaking election is stupid, very stupid. It's at the University of Oregon, Quacktavius, a therapy duck, baby therapy goats, and therapy dogs were brought to campus to promote. Well, how they do this crap across the freaking country? I mean, have you thought about that? Like all over the country, this has happened. Like, who talked to all these universities and said, "Hey, if you're feeling a certain type of way about Donald Trump beating this woman, let's just say about this woman losing, let's just have quiet time in a quiet space so we can all reflect and cry on each other's shoulders and eat cupcakes, cookies, and potatoes." Students at Virginia Tech could play with therapy dogs, do arts and crafts, or join a guided stretcher. You know what? Do I want to read this whole damn thing? I surely don't, because this is, I think y'all got enough. They're going to go, get y'all see this goat right here. We invited the counselor class to grieve about the, at Michigan State University, an MSU professor went viral after canceling her class to grieve about the election. I'm counseling class today to grieve the presidential election results, Bora wrote. It's all women. Wrote a notice later, shared on social media as a quick. Oh, she feels the whole minority gamut as a queer immigrant woman of color. I think this, you can't make this up. I cannot, in good conscience, go on about my day like everything is all right. So, what you gonna do tomorrow, you queer immigrant woman of color? You still got students to teach tomorrow, or Monday, or actually 7 days a week, because I'm sure they got projects and assignments that's due. They may have to email you and get in contact with you. What you gonna do next week? What you gonna do for the next 4 years? You gonna stop teaching? I know somebody who gets a check and it has presidential signature on it. Person told me they didn't want a check with Donald Trump's name on it. You know what I said? Give me the check. I'll gladly take it. If you don't want it, you don't want to go live under the bridge. See, emotional people will burn the whole house, including them, if their feelings are hurt. Not caring about the consequences for tomorrow, saying and doing silly stuff that don't make sense. Man, shoot. I take a check. If I'm working for it or if I earned, I take a check. I don't care who name on it. Don't care who name on it. Because even the person whose name on it before, Joe Biden, That dude's a known racist. That dude was mentored by racists. So what's the difference between Joe Biden writing, signing your check and Donald Trump? This is a major historical event that we are witnessing. She continued, I hope you take this time to take care of yourself. The professor also promised not to discriminate against any of her students for their political beliefs. Is this dude crying like a little broad? The professor's page was taken down from the university website. Good. MSU told Fox they were aware, Fox Digital, that they were aware and were addressing the incident internally. Campus reform. Okay, I read that by Democrat. Here goes. Emily Sturgis told Fox News Digital that these schools were not equipping students for the real world. Democratic elections are not traumatic. They are a privilege that not all countries allow. Thank you. We're headed down a very problematic path. Universities are producing a generation that can't face the uncertainties and challenges of life, Sturge told Fox News Digital. These activities, oh, I like this. I like this. These activities belong at a daycare, not an institution of higher learning. They don't even belong at a daycare. Shoot, somebody in daycare fall, cry, you tell them get on up, wipe your face off, and we're gonna clean it up. We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep playing, keep eating crayons. Stop. No, you're not gonna get in your feelings like that. Life is hard. It's full of hard work, hurt feelings, sadness, and tragedy. Our great grandparents fought through World War II with sacrifice and grit. My great grandparents fought through slavery and sharecropping, not with coloring books or puppet, and fought with sacrifice and grit, not with coloring books or puppy petting. They face obstacles and opposition head on. Universities need to return to preparing the next generation to not only survive the real world, but to thrive. She continued. Do y'all understand that other countries see this stuff and just laugh at America? Some university officials are defending election activities, arguing we are living in an unprecedented time of division. I quote, I do think the rhetoric that goes around during elections with the past few election cycles is really different from what I grew up with. We're constantly hearing messages that are, if you don't do this that way, everything is over. Exactly. Exactly. That's the problem. Like I said, they sit there and say if Trump gets in the office, he's gonna deport all your whole family. He's gonna put black people back in chains. Uh, what else? What else? What else? What else? He gonna do the Project 2025. All these things that he's a tyranny, tyrant, whatever you want to call him, sexist, racist. This guy's the worst ever. If he get an election, if he wins the election, then America is doomed. You feed this to people over and over and over and over again. Eventually, somebody gonna believe it subconsciously, and then when election, but we saw that Trump was gonna win a mile away just by the way Kamala Harris was out there politicking, campaigning. You saw it happening a mile away. They were not covering the issues, and that's what the problem is. Let's see. Don't want. Let's see. Goes around the election path. It's different when I grew up with counseling and mentioned that if you don't do this way, everything is over. Kelly Brown, the director of counseling, health, and wellness services at the University of Puget Sound, told Inside Higher Ed. Okay, well, cool. Somebody at that same university say y'all are stupid. I don't think of it as coddling. I think of it as paying attention to the environment around us. She added. Oh no. No. She didn't say y'all stupid. She's saying we were stupid. My bad. Put together two things that don't match. It's not just colleges who have come under fire for their post-election practices. Students at the pre-K to 12th grade private institution Ethic Culture Fieldstone School in New York who felt too emotionally distressed the day after the election were excused from classes. The New York Times reported excused absences were permitted on Wednesday for students who felt unable to fully engage in class. You're talking about kids. They can't even vote. They can't even vote. They shouldn't even be worried about. That's why I said it's been what 10, 11 elections since I've been alive. And I can only really recall participating in the last four, maybe 4, 16. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, presidential election, probably like the last 4 or 5 elections. That's it. The first 4 or 5 elections, first 4 elections, probably wasn't even old enough to even participate in. And then after that, just didn't vote because, chose not to. But as I got older, I said, okay, I got to make choices. And, and one of the most important choices I can make is, what I'm saying, casting my ballot. What we're talking about kindergarten through 12th grade. Lord have mercy. In addition to no homework will be assigned on election day, no student assessments will be given on Wednesday, and psychologists will be available to provide counseling. The New York Times reported ahead of election day. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld, whose two sons once attended the elite school, accused the institution of coddling students. Thank you, Jerry Seinfeld. This is why the kids hated it, Seinfeld told the New York Times. What kind of lives have these people led that makes them think that this is the right way to handle young people, to encourage them to buckle? This is the lesson they are providing for ungodly sums of money. Yep. Georgetown University and Harvard did not respond to requests for comment. Well, anyway, man, like I said, this is sad. Like I said, this is what our country is coming to. This is what you're teaching the kids. Oh, that's why I'm glad I teach my kids to be, I ain't gonna say rough around the edges, but know how to handle themselves, know how to take care of themselves, let it roll off your back and keep it moving. Cause that way, when they deal with people like this, oh, they can just, I ain't gonna say run over them, but they just run over and rule them because they know exactly what to do and how to handle business. While little kids like this, okay, y'all go over there and just cry in the corner. I got this. And when you're done crying in the corner, you can go home. Because we don't need people like you to help run this company or help run this country. God Almighty, I just cannot imagine having a president that's this emotional, that's so emotional that they would condone and validate stuff like this. I mean, what you gonna do when you're talking to the world leaders and they're like, no, we're not gonna listen to you. You're a woman. You're an Indian woman. We don't respect you. And they laugh at you in your face. What you gonna do? Run? Just like the night when she knew she was gonna lose. Knew it. Wouldn't talk to her own people at the university, was at Howard, and didn't call Donald Trump to concede until like the next day, the next evening. What kind of leader is that? But it showed. Her losing showed you exactly the type of person she is and type of people she lead. But it's sad. I don't understand it. Like I said, I mean, well, I got one child that's still in college, but hopefully soon she'll be up out of there. But nah, I ain't got no children in school, and I'm glad because this here, man, this kind of stuff here makes you want to. But think about homeschooling if you ain't doing it. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. I mean, let's have a dialogue. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those four things cost you nothing but maybe a couple of minutes out your day, but it means the world to us here. If you would like to support monetarily, you can always do a super thanks, super chat, or go to the description box below. There are links there you can click on to where you can support us monetarily. Don't forget to go to marlonmorale.com. That's marlonmorale.com where you get 10% off your first purchase of all our luxury items in the store. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. And also, right now, if you hit the shop button below, we're having a sale right now on our mini beard kits, on our sandalwood beard kits. It has a sandalwood oil, balm, and a wash. And sandalwood is clinically proven to stimulate hair follicle growth. So if you're gonna try to grow that beard or get the beard a little thicker, why not choose the best product or the best oils? You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, like I said, hit the shop button and get that deal. And like I said, I promise you won't be disappointed. With that being said, I'll leave you in peace. I'll see you on the other side.